大家好，欢迎你回到 CHI 113的频道，我是高老师。今天我们要学第二课家庭。Hey everybody, this is Gao 老师, and today we're going to be focusing on Lesson 2, Dialogue 1, or in Chinese, 家庭。Before the next class, this video is going to help you accomplish the following learning objectives. Number 1, you should be able to understand and be able to pronounce using the correct tones all of the assigned vocab words. Number 2, you should be able to read and fully comprehend the first part of Lesson 2, Dialogue 1. Number 3, you should have a basic understanding of the dialogue's main grammar points, and there are 3 that we'll focus on here today. And finally, you should be able to read and write all of the assigned characters for next class's in-class quiz. 准备好了吗？好的，我们开始吧。It's now time to begin listening to the audio of our new vocab words from Lesson 2, Dialogue 1. As you hear the speaker say these words, please try your best to mimic their pronunciation out loud.
Lesson 2, Dialogue 1, Vocabulary. 1.
那
That. 2.
的
A possessive or descriptive particle. 3.
照片
Picture. Photo. 4.
这
This. 5.
爸爸
Father. Dad. 6.
妈妈
Mother. Mom. 7.
个
Measure word for many common everyday objects. 8.
女
Female. 9.
孩子
Child. 10.
谁
Who?
Please go back and listen to this audio at least 2 to 3 more times, repeating out loud what you hear. Let's move on and listen to the audio from the textbook dialogue.
Lesson 2, Dialogue 1. Looking at a family photo.
高文中，那是你的照片吗？是，这是我爸爸，这是我妈妈。这个女孩子是谁？
I would suggest going back and listening to this audio at least 3 more times just to make sure you can fully understand what both speakers are saying. So in addition to listening to the audio, another effective method that I've been emphasizing here in these pre-class videos is to use flashcards, and Quizlet is perfect for doing this. All you have to do to start reviewing the new vocab words from the first part of Lesson 2, Dialogue 1 is scan the QR code on your screen here or click on the link in the descriptions for this video below. Have fun with it. Alright, so let's look here at the first grammar point in the dialogue, which is in blue font, and it's de. So this is how it appears in the dialogue. Wang Peng says, 高文中 那是你的照片吗? Let's look a little bit closer at this grammar point. So the particle de is used to indicate a possessive relationship between 2 nouns or between a pronoun and a noun. And so the particle de is placed between the possessor and the possessed. So it's very similar to the S apostrophe S structure in English. So the basic pattern you'll see is it'll be noun followed by a de and then followed by another noun. Let's practice. 中文怎么说? Wang Peng's mother. 中文怎么说 Wang Peng's mother. It would be 王鹏的妈妈。王鹏的妈妈。好。中文怎么说 Wang Peng's father. 中文怎么说 Wang Peng's father. 王鹏的爸爸。王鹏的爸爸. So notice how Wang Peng, the noun, is then followed by the possessive particle de, which is then followed by 爸爸, meaning father. 中文怎么说 the teacher's name. 中文怎么说 the teacher's name. 老师的名字。老师的名字。好，中文怎么说 my picture. 中文怎么说 my picture. 我的照片。我的照片。One important thing to bear in mind here with the particle de is that oftentimes it's dropped in speech if the possessor is a personal pronoun and the possessed is a kinship term. So personal pronouns can be I, he, him, her, she, etc. So basically the pattern will be a personal pronoun, and then oftentimes in speech you'll drop the de and then you'll add the kinship term. So let's practice. Number 1. 中文怎么说 This is my dad. So you would say 这是我爸爸. Number 2. 中文怎么说 She is my mom. 她是我妈妈. Right? So notice how the de is dropped in between the 我 and mama. Number 3. 中文怎么说 That is my mom's friend. And to say friend is 朋友. 那是我妈妈的朋友. So here you need the de, right? Because mama, mother, is not a personal pronoun, and friend, obviously, is not somebody that you're related to. Number 4. 中文怎么说 This is Mrs. Wang's older brother. And to say older brother, you can say 哥哥. So you would say 这是王小姐的哥哥. So here again, notice how we include the de, because Miss Wang, Wang Xiaojie, is not a personal pronoun. 好的，我们练习. Let's take a moment to practice using the particle de. Please pause the video now and translate the following 3 sentences/phrases on your own. 第一 Number 1. 李友的爸爸。李友的爸爸。第二 Number 2. 王鹏的照片。王鹏的照片。第三 Number 3. 美国老师的学生。美国老师的学生. So let's move on then and look at the second grammar point in the dialogue, which is in blue font here on the bottom of the slide. And it is 个. So let's look at this. Wang Peng says, 这个女孩子是谁? So let's look at this grammar point a little bit closer. Measure words like 个 are a distinct feature of the Chinese language. So in Chinese, a numerical quantity is usually not followed immediately by a noun. Instead, a measure word is inserted between the number and the noun. And there are over 100 measure words in Chinese. In fact, I have my own dictionary of measure words that I oftentimes reference. But it's also important to bear in mind that you're really only going to use about 2 to 3 dozen of them. So there's no need to panic. All right, let's practice. So if we wanted to say one teacher, we would say 一个老师. 一个老师. And 个 is really your default measure word. Whenever you are in doubt, you can use 个, and people will understand what you're trying to say. Oftentimes it's used for people and things that don't have a specific measure word. 好, let's practice. 中文怎么说 three students. 中文怎么说 three students? 很好，三个学生 right? So three, add the measure word student. 三个学生。中文怎么说 one Chinese person. 中文怎么说 one Chinese person. 一个中国人，一个中国人。So again, we're adding the measure word between the number and between the noun. 中文怎么说 one American person. 中文怎么说 one American person. 一个美国人，一个美国人。So 个, as I mentioned earlier, is the most important measure word. It is what I like to refer to as the default measure word. Now, one measure word that's not included in your textbook, but I think is one that you should be aware of since it's used widely, is this measure word 张。跟我说张，张。So if we wanted to say one picture, we would say 一张照片，一张照片。And so 张, as the slide here says at the bottom, is a measure word used for things with a flat surface. So to say one piece of paper, we would say 一张纸，一张纸。To say one table, we would say 一张桌子，一张桌子。And then for those of you who are pet lovers like myself, in fact, this image here on the slide is a picture of my cat. The measure word you would use for small animals is 只，跟我说只，只。So to say one cat, you would say 一只猫，一只猫。To say one dog, you could say 一只狗，一只狗。So again, notice how the number is followed by the measure word, which is then followed by the noun. It's also important to bear in mind that demonstrative pronouns like this and that also need a measure word between them and the noun. For example, 中文怎么说 that girl? 中文怎么说 that girl? You would say 那个女孩子. So notice how the 个 comes after the demonstrative pronoun and before the noun. 好，中文怎么说 this picture? 中文怎么说 this picture? And don't forget the measure word for picture here is 张. So you would say 这张照片，这张照片。好，中文怎么说 this dog? 中文怎么说 this dog? You would say 这只狗，这只狗。很好。好的，我们练习一下。Let's take a moment now to practice using this measure word 个。So please pause the video and translate the phrases below. 第一 Number 1. 一个中国人，一个中国人。And don't forget here that the E, that is one, the tone is changing to second tone because it's followed by a fourth tone. So we say 一个中国人。第二 Number 2. 两个孩子，两个孩子。第三 Number 3. 三个美国学生，三个美国学生。Let's move on then and look at the final grammar point that we're going to discuss in this video. And it is question pronouns like 谁 and 什么. So 什么, I hope you recall, is from dialogue 1, which means what. So this is how the question pronoun 谁 appears in the dialogue. And it's Wang Peng who says it here at the bottom of the screen. He says, 这个女孩子是谁? And so 谁 means who, right? Who is this girl? Let's look a little bit closer at this grammar point. So as I mentioned earlier, we've learned two question pronouns so far, and they are 谁, meaning who, and 什么, meaning what. So in a question that uses a question pronoun, the word order is exactly the same as that of a declarative sentence. 好, let's look at an example. 谁叫王鹏? 谁叫王鹏? Right? Who is Wang Peng? Right? Whose name is Wang Peng? And you would say 他叫王鹏. Right? He is Wang Peng. 他叫王鹏. He is called Wang Peng. 谁是老师? 谁是老师? So who's the teacher in these two pictures? 谁是老师? And here you would say 爸爸是老师. Right? 爸爸是老师. 谁是美国人? 谁是美国人? So who's the American person here? 谁是美国人? And then hopefully you said 贺锦丽是美国人. 他是谁? 他是谁? Right? Who is he? 他是谁? And you would respond by saying 他是李小龙. 他是李小龙. And hopefully you're noticing something here, that when the question is asked, like this question is on the slide, 他是谁? He is who? The answer, all you're doing for the answer there is you're filling in the question pronoun with the answer. 他是李小龙. Let's look at one more example. 这是谁的照片? 这是谁的照片? So whose picture is this? 这是谁的照片? 中文怎么说? 中文怎么说? How would you say this? 中文怎么说? 这是我的照片. 这是我的照片. So again, the word order in a question is the same as that used in the answer. The answer just simply replaces the question pronoun. 好的，我们练习. Let's take a moment now to practice using the question pronouns 谁 or 什么. So please pause the video and translate the following questions below. 第一 Number 1. 谁是老师? 谁是老师? 第二 Number 2. 谁有照片? 谁有照片? 第三 Number 3. 那个女孩子姓什么? 那个女孩子姓什么? So those are our main grammar points that we'll focus on for the next class session. For additional explanations and excellent examples of these three grammar points, please do reference your textbook, particularly pages 50 through 52. So now that we've listened to the audio several times for the vocab words and dialogue and have a pretty good understanding of the main grammar points, it's time now to practice writing the assigned characters for next class's dictation quiz. And before I show you the animated character strokes, I want to remind you all that you can find grid paper to practice writing characters in Canvas when you click on the Modules tab. And the grid paper can serve as a very, very helpful guideline, ensuring that your characters are uniform in size and aesthetically pleasing. So let's go ahead and look at the 10 vocab words that you'll need to know for next class's dictation quiz. So the first one is na. Na, meaning that. De. De, which is a possessive particle. 照片 照片, which means picture or photo. "这," which means this. 爸爸, which means father or dad. 妈妈, which means mother or mom. 个, which is a measure word for many common everyday objects. As I mentioned earlier, you can think of it as the default measure word. 女, meaning female. 孩子, meaning child. 谁, meaning who or whom. For those of you interested in learning more about Chinese characters, especially how to write characters using the proper stroke order, I would encourage you to visit the Chinese Learning website. You can find the URL here down below in the descriptions for this video, or if you prefer, you can scan the QR code here on your screen. It'll take you to the page where you can look up any single character and get information on how to pronounce it, on its meaning, and perhaps most importantly, the correct stroke order. It'll walk you through stroke by stroke how to write any character in the dictionary. So enjoy. And once you feel comfortable with the new vocab words, characters, and grammar points from the first part of Lesson 2 Dialogue 1, please don't forget to take the Lesson 2 Dialogue 1 Part 1 pre-class practice quiz in Canvas before our next class session. 好的，下次见，拜拜。